Congregation for Humanist Judaism's on the air. We're on the air. We're always on the air. We're on YouTube. It's called a channel. We can say we're on the air. Oh, this thing's picking up a lot better tonight, isn't it? Yeah. All right, so everybody can hear me really well. We are small but mighty. And we do have people online, I hope, too, right? Because we have a wonderful guest tonight. Sharon Gadoth is here to talk to us about protecting nature in Israel. Thank you for joining us. Is it Gadoth? Okay, so like God. It's the same name. Just transliterated the tav into a th, which of course is very common, which is why we have so many synagogues named Beth, even though Beth is not, the most Jewish name in the world. Well, it comes from Elizabeth, and, she didn't have any Jews in her kingdom, the first one anyway. Joseph is here and is recovering from a cold, so we're going to give him a lot of musical support tonight. And I did not invite anyone yet to light candles, so I'm going to ask Lonnie and yes, you too, sir. I'm going to ask the two of you to come up and light candles. But let me just do the first reading so you don't have to stand up there. You take a seat and then you'll join me in a moment. No, sit down. It's okay. You're here every week. I'm surprised you don't know the drill. But let me get this thing going so they don't have to worry about it. So did everybody have a good break, a nice New Year? One of the many New Years we do celebrate. We don't have a lot of readers, and for some reason we didn't have the extra reading, so I'm going to be doing a lot more reading tonight. But that's okay. My mommy taught me how. Our readers are Ruth Kadish. I saw Ruth. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Sarah Markowitz, subbing for Audrey, who's a little under the weather, and Rabbi Miriam Jairus. And we'll begin with the first slide, if you will, Arthur. Light has always guided us, illuminating the way through times of darkness and celebrating moments of joy. Tonight, as we kindle these Shabbat lights, may they remind us of the strength we carry within and the responsibilities we share beyond ourselves. May these Shabbat lights bring warmth to our hearts and clarity to our minds. As the flames rise, may they inspire us to act with courage, compassion, and urgency, bringing light to those who need it most. May we be blessed with light, peace, and purpose.
Baruch haor ba'olam, Baruch haor ba'adam, Baruch haor ba'shalom, ba'shalom, Baruch haor ba'shalom.
As the week slips behind us, we open the door to Shabbat, inviting its calm and beauty into our lives. Shabbat does not come to us from beyond, but is something we create, a time to pause, to breathe, to find joy in one another's company, and meaning in a shared experience. By gathering on Shabbat, we transform the ordinary into something extraordinary. In this time, we celebrate the tradition of rest and renewal, softening the burdens of the week and strengthening the connections we share. Let us embrace the Shabbat that we create together as a community of humanistic Jews.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena la Shabbat. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena la Shabbat. Naria, naria leyom simchatenu, nikadma b'shalom. נריה, נריה ליום שמחתנו, בזמירות נריה לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לשבת. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לשבת. נריה, נריה ליום שמחתנו, נקרא בשלום. נריה, נריה ליום שמחתנו, בזמירות נריה לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לשבת. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לשבת.
Sarah's stepping in for Audrey tonight. There was no four.
No. Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Proofreader was off duty this week.
Aren't we all?
Four was a song.
To cross the threshold of this room on Shabbat is to enter a place free from the demands of our everyday lives. We step away from our daily routines in an attempt to gain perspective on where we have been and where we are going. At other times, in other places, we may feel fragile and alone, yet here we join together to find strength, to build community, as we look with wonder at the universe and seek our place within its vastness.
It's that staticky time of year when the pages stick together.
To this place we come to lengthen our perspective.
To this place we come to question and explore.
In this place we awaken our imaginations.
In this place we draw strength as we allow ourselves to dream.
Together we share the challenge of an ever-changing world. That's with a great big exclamation point. A world often beyond our control, another exclamation point. Together we seek to find meaning, calm our anxieties, and understand our purpose. Together we share the burdens and blessings of responsibility. And together we bond as a community, a true gift of Shabbat.
אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, לכו ונלכה. מקור הברכה. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל.
Our capacity to pursue lives of integrity depends upon our freedom of inquiry. One person's truth may be another's heresy. Unfettered investigation is the only path to knowledge. We must each be free to find our way. Baruch Spinoza put it this way: people's habits of mind differ. Some more readily embrace one form of faith and some another. This is because what moves one person to pray may move another to scoff. I conclude that all people should be free to choose for themselves the foundations of their creed. Faith should be judged only by its fruits.
There's a place with answers we are seeking. There's a place to find our light of hope. Where's the strength to realize our vision? יש מקום בתוכנו, יש מקום בתוכנו. Look within yourself, you'll find it there. There's a place with wisdom that can guide us. There's a place where we know what's right or wrong. Where's the path to peace that we all long for? יש מקום בתוכנו, יש מקום בתוכנו. Look within yourself, you'll find it there.
The psalmist wrote, "Live with integrity, do what is right, and speak the truth without deceit. Have no slander upon your tongue, do no evil to others, and do not mistreat your neighbor. Spurn a contemptible person, but honor those who live with respect. Endeavor to keep a promise once made, even though it may be difficult for you. Do not use money or power to abuse others. Make these deeds your own, and you will set an example throughout your days."
על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם קיים. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם קיים. על האמת ועל הדין ועל השלום, על האמת ועל הדין ועל השלום, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם קיים. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם קיים.
Let us strive to lead loving, compassionate lives with our hearts, with our wisdom, and with our actions. Let these be the ideas that we inscribe in our innermost heart. May we practice them day and night, teaching them diligently to our children through our words and especially through our deeds, so that coming generations shall learn to revere and celebrate life.
איפה תקוותי, תקוותי בי, איפה כוחי, כוחי בי, וגם בך, וגם בך, איפה כוחי, כוחי Where is my hope? My hope is in me. Where is my strength? My strength is in me and in you, and in you. Where is my strength? My strength is in me and in you, and in you.
In the pursuit of a just world, may we hold fast to the ideals that give life its deepest meaning. Among these are the courage to hope, even when hope is scarce, to dream of peace, even when surrounded by uncertainty. Though the path to peace may be long, let us never lose sight of it. May we remember that peace is not only the absence of struggle, but the fullness of life that blossoms from justice, security, and compassion. Wherever there are struggles to achieve such a peace, let wisdom also guide actions. May we be vessels of peace, always carrying it in our hearts and minds, even when we seek to protect what we hold dear. And may the world we leave behind be one that reflects our highest ideals: freedom, understanding, and enduring harmony among all people.
Na'aseh shalom, shalom ba'olam. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam ve'imru shalom. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam ve'imru shalom. Na'aseh shalom, shalom ba'olam. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam ve'imru shalom.
In this community where we find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward all those who need our love and support. Those who are ill, those who suffer pain of the body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. Tonight, we extend our well wishes to these beloved members of our community, to Lee Bricker and Jim Walker, and to anyone whom you're thinking about tonight, whose names you'd like to share. Beginning on this side, anybody? Yes, Miriam. Thank you. Anyone else? May all who suffer know that they are not alone, that we are there. May they be healed quickly. May they experience a complete...
Kom ha'koach betocheinu, mekorot ha'bracha michavrotenu. May the source of strength that dwells so deep within us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Shalom. Mekom ha'koach betocheinu, mekorot ha'bracha michavrotenu. May those in need of healing, no refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Shalom.
We can shed only tears that they are now gone, or we can smile because they once lived. We can close our eyes and pray they will return, or we can open our eyes and see all that they left to us. Our hearts can be empty because they are no longer here, or we can fill them with the love that we shared. We can turn our backs on tomorrow, living only yesterday, or we can anticipate tomorrow because of yesterday. When they come to mind, we can remember only that they are gone, or we can take comfort in memory where our love for them still abides. We can cry and close our minds and in our sorrow turn away from life, or we can do what they would want by opening our hearts, loving, smiling, and carrying on. Our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every people and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We recall now our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and all of those whom we have taken into our hearts as our own. Tonight, our community mourns the death this week of a longtime and beloved member, Edna Fryer, Yizicha Livracha. And we mourn the beloved father of our fellow congregant, our friend, Jennifer Kurland, her dad, Martin Kurland. Yizicho Baruch. We observe, too, the art sites of these beloved members of our congregation and their loved ones, of Lawrence Bowman, Margaret Dennenberg, Robert Kern, Alan Lieb, Abraham Michnick, Marilyn Muroff, John Scala, Ruth Adler-Schnee, and Connie Ring. And if there's someone that we have not mentioned whose name you'd like to add to our list, we'd go around the room. Anybody on this side? Yes, Linda?
Sherry Hobson.
David?
Erwin Fenster.
Did we miss anyone at all? We say this, Yehi Zichronam Livracha, may their memories guide us toward blessing, guide us towards recovery from the absence that remains in our hearts when we think of them, but also guide us to the joy that will always be with us for having had those precious moments together. If you can do so comfortably, please rise as together we recite our humanistic interpretation of Kaddish. Nit gadal v'nit kadash beruach ha'adam. Let us dignify and ennoble all people in the spirit of our shared humanity. Let us acclaim the preciousness of life. Let us show gratitude for life by approaching it with reverence. Let us embrace the whole world, even as we wrestle with its parts. Let us each in our own way take up our share in serving the world and seeking truth. May our commitment to life help us to strengthen healing of spirit and peace of mind. May justice and peace permeate and comfort the house of Israel and all those who dwell on earth. And let us say, Ken Yehi, may it be so. Please be seated. We are honored tonight to welcome our guest, Sharon, and I'm going to just call you up in one moment, but I got to do a little advertisement first. So there's some fun things coming up, and there's some serious things coming up. And I know this is a time of year when our ranks are smaller, but I'm going to encourage you to call your friends and tell them about the next two talks, and to let people know what I'll be speaking about. Now, some of you, I know all of you, of course, do. They're not going to be that bad, but they are kind of downers, I'm not going to lie. Oh, I miss it. Oh, well, hopefully I'll have young grandchildren again in the not too distant future. No, I'm not announcing anything. She just got married. Uh, but in any case, I'm going to be talking about Jew hatred. And there's a reason I'm not calling it anti-Semitism, and when you come here, you'll learn why. So next week I'm going to do, and it was at Audrey Pleasant, who's not here tonight. Hopefully she'll be well with us soon again. I'm going to be talking about sort of a very short summation of a class that I gave twice here. These were probably my two best attended classes until this American Judaism class that I'm teaching now, where I'm going to go through some of the history of Jew hatred, both anti-Judaism, meaning theological, against the religion and what we believe, against presumptions of our race, ethnicity, our nationality, however you want to call it. I call it our tribe. And finally, anti-Zionism, which I talked about, which is not any longer about Zionism. It's about targeting Jews for the desire to have a little bit of agency in a very tiny spot in this world, and to create and recreate every single libel that's ever been cast against us for that desire. We're going to talk about those for 2 weeks, and I think that it's very important. I had not had this on my dance card to do, but the number of requests I had made it something that I couldn't afford to ignore. So those will be the next 2 weeks. I will try to make them fascinating and interesting, but I cannot, however, make them happy or uplifting, except in the sense that knowledge does lift us up, and it helps us to cope, and it helps us to understand as a humanistic Jews from experience, because that's how we make decisions, not from above, but from what we know, and then to be able to address it as adults. But the following Shabbat, we're going to have some fun, because we're going to celebrate Tu B'Shvat. It'll be at 6 o'clock. We'll have the Spinoza families here, so a lot of kids will be here. And they're going to be actually joined by this group of young Israeli educators right before their year in Army, the Shinshanim, in their year of service. They come over here and they work with all the very large Sunday schools. So we had to book them on a Friday night, but fortunately they were available on Tu B'Shvat. So that's going to be for the kids, and we're going to have a little mini Seder, Tu B'Shvat Seder, and all the usual goodies. And then we think we have one more Shabbat, and then there's a special program that Sarah's putting together. I'll be away for a week in February, and I forgot what that program is, but look for it in the newsletter. What? Do you remember what it is, Sarah? Movie. Right, Wine and Cheese movie. Did we pick the movie yet? Oh, and Mary Met Sally. That's in memory of the great Rob Reiner. All right, so Audrey was to make the introduction tonight, but she is not here, and we wish her a speedy recovery, Fuah Shlema. But I had the pleasure of meeting Sharon. We communicated a little bit online. She is here from Nature Israel, which works for the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, and she's going to tell you all about it. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Sure. Yeah, well, this should be an uplifting story, too, so you'll have enough negativity in the next 2 weeks. We'll try to keep this happy. Shabbat Shalom. So my name is Sharon Gadoth. Unfortunately, Audrey is ill today. She could not come, but she did ask me to speak to you tonight about Nature Israel, which is the American branch of the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel. The abbreviation is SPNI, and just to keep things easy, that's what I'm going to be using throughout my talk. And in Hebrew, it's known as HaChevra Lahaganat HaTeva, which means exactly the same thing, the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel. So I'm just going to give you a little background about myself so you know why I'm here and who I'm representing. Basically, as a child, from 1968 to 1970, when I was in 6th and 7th grade, I lived in Israel with my family. My father worked at the Weizmann Institute for those years, and I fell in love with the country. It was a very important time in my life. I later returned after college to live and work there, and I ended up staying for 9 years. I married an Israeli who's here with me tonight. And our oldest daughter was born in Israel. Throughout those years that I was in Israel, I would join SPNI on nature hikes all over the country. And later on, we took our girls on private nature tours with SPNI when we would go to Israel, and they were all amazing experiences. When COVID broke out, I discovered that Nature Israel, which is the American branch of SPNI, and the long name is the American Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, and they knew that was not going to work very well, so they changed it to Nature Israel. But anyway, when COVID broke out, I found out that they were hosting webinars in English online on Sundays at 1 p.m. And this is continuing to this day. Every few weeks, they have a webinar. They discussed all the activities and everything that they were doing for nature in Israel. They were very uplifting, and I learned so much about their hard work and actions that I grew to love the organization even more, with more understanding. So in my retirement, I decided to support them not only with donations, but by active engagement. I want to spread the word here in the US about this beloved Israeli environmental group and all of the wonderful work that they do. As Americans, we know a lot about the JNF, for instance, planting trees in Israel, but this is not they are not an environmental organization. SPNI is the environmental organization, and we need to support Israel's natural environment and habitats. So this is my introduction here. I'm happy to speak to you, and just to let you know, I am absolutely a volunteer ambassador. Nature Israel has told me that I'm their first one, but I just volunteered myself. And as I said before, I'm going to use the term SPNI for everything I discuss. So the first thing I want you to know is SPNI is one of the largest nonprofit organizations in Israel, and it is supported by over 90% of the Israeli population. You've also probably heard of the classic historical study of the draining of the swamps by the pioneers when they first came to Israel to build the land and make the desert bloom. Probably heard of that. Well, I would just want to give you information on how SPNI was formed. Back in 1953, two gentlemen, Azaria Alon, who is now known as the father of Israeli environmentalism, together with Amos Zahavi, who was a Tel Aviv University evolutionary biologist and also a local kibbutznik, they protested that draining of the wetlands back in 1953. They recognized so early the ecological harm that it would cause. And on that protest, based on that protest, SPNI was founded. So they were really the founders of SPNI. And it's pretty ironic now, SPNI, well, not ironic, but we're kind of circling back. SPNI is actively rewilding those wetlands, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. So they are the #1 environmental organization in Israel, preserving plants, animals, and the natural environment. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So that's the theme here, and those are cute red foxes that live in Israel. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Israel is a global biodiversity hotspot. Only 3% of the Earth's surface is considered a global biodiversity hotspot, including the land of Israel. In Israel, the rich biodiversity is endangered by unsustainable development and, of course, climate change. Israel has more species of plants and animals per square kilometer than 97% of the globe. For a country the size of New Jersey, this is unique. Native species of flora and fauna of 3 continents commingle in Israel. And you can see that on the map there. The southernmost species of Europe, the westernmost species of Asia, and the northernmost species of Africa. Okay, next slide. So Israel is right in the middle of the bird migration fly route. And if you look at the map on the bottom right, you can see that Israel is really a bottleneck on this crucial fly route. Most of the birds of Europe and Western Asia that migrate fly right over Israel and back every year. They clearly don't want to cross the Mediterranean or the desert, so the Mediterranean to the west and the desert to the east, so they stick to Israel's narrow strip, which provides them with resting and refueling sites. Next, please. And Israel can be a very dense urban environment. You probably have seen this city before, Tel Aviv. And all of Israel could actually look like this without the protection of open spaces. It's critical to maintain these open spaces and create an eco-friendly environment for both the population and wildlife at large. You can go to the next slide, please. So the Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel supports four main areas of activity, and I will discuss each one of them: conservation, education, environmental advocacy, and ecotourism. Next slide. Next slide. So talking about conservation and protecting open spaces. Protecting open land is done through advocacy and land use planning, which is the core of what SPNI does. SPNI is rooted in science and is all about planning. Ecological corridors are crucial to connect Israel's dwindling and fragmented habitats. And let's see if this works. You can see all the purple sections are the connections between the corridors of the green, which are the open spaces. Or did I? Yeah. Those are the ways to connect the open spaces. So it's crucial to keep a line because otherwise animals, for instance, get stuck and they have nowhere to go. So you know that, like in California with the panthers, how the highways blocking them from their territory and so on. So it's really important to keep open these territories. Next, please. Okay, again, City of Tel Aviv, does anyone know what park this is? Besides you. Okay. Nature needs to be in cities too. This is the Yarkon Park in Tel Aviv. You can see the Mediterranean out there in the back. And the park serves as a vital green space for wildlife and public enjoyment. SPNI provides education tours and bird watching walks in the park. It really is a beautiful oasis in Tel Aviv. If you go there, you'll be amazed. Next slide, please. And a lot of people ask me, no, this is not AI, this is a real photo. And this is a photo of the Gazelle Valley, which SPNI established and built in the 21st century in the heart of Jerusalem. And you can see the Holy Land Project up there in the back, and all the, I guess this isn't working too well, there. You can see all the highway signs there. This open field was really getting squeezed out totally. There were gazelles living there, but they were hemmed in. Once again, they had no connection to any open spaces. And the local neighborhood did not want to lose this space. They really loved it. So they went to SPNI, who helped advocate and conserve, and together with the city, there are now so many gazelles living in that area that they even have to release them into the Judean hills. So it's been a wonderful success story, and Jerusalemites, they're in a city, they're nowhere near any natural environment, and it's really a little oasis for them as well. Next slide. And obviously protecting birds is, well, I don't know if it's obvious to you, but birds are really the canary in the coal mine for healthy habitats. Like, they're the first ones to can't handle any change in the environment, and being the migration flyway, that's really an important issue. Next slide. So SPNI helps support this migration flyway. This is in the Upper Galilee, west of the Golan Heights. You may have heard of the Hula Valley, and that was one of the marshes that were drained. It's a vital global wetland for birds and other wildlife. Obviously, you can see the flocks there, those are storks, And it's really a major stopover on the flyway, and they're pretty darn hungry. Next slide, please. Caring for birds. For almost 30 years, the Jerusalem Bird Observatory, which was Israel's first urban wildlife site and was founded by SPNI, has been a true community center for birding education and research. If you look closely on the left, I'm not doing very well with this. There you go. You can see that he's holding a bird there, and they're banding that bird for research. And they track birds from all over the world passing through. It's really exciting. I missed my opportunity to go there on my last trip because I got sick, but it's really a destination for me. SPNI also has a bird observatory in Eilat now, another place that you can go and enjoy. Next slide. Okay. Startup Nature, you know that's a takeoff on Startup Nation. You can go to the next slide. So nature-based solutions to climate change. An estimated 95% of crucial wetlands in Israel have disappeared over the last century, owing to both climate change and human development. Interesting, the fish ponds in Israel, there were many fish ponds for producing fish and for, feeding, for the economy. They had failed, and the kibbutzim had stopped using them. They were pretty much lying waste for at least a decade. Startup Nature, which is the term that the SPNI uses for their program, is recreating these wetlands through rewilding. So they actually go on site and rework the land and reestablish the wetlands in its place. Next slide. Farupin was their flagship for rewilding wetlands. It's right on the border with Jordan. And they also have another area that was just recently opened up or completed in Kibbutz Ma'agan Michael. If any of you have been there recently, that's a kibbutz that's on the Mediterranean. It's just to the west of Zichron Yaakov, which is south of Haifa. Next slide, please. And of course, it's really important to protect the seas. Israel's blue half, by the way, the area of Israel's economic and territorial waters is as large as its land area. It's got crucial fragile biodiversity to protect. And over the last several years, SPNI has revamped Israel's fishing industry regulations and practices. So they've banned trawling, which is those nets that go along the base of the ocean. And they've restricted fishing in multiple areas, and they're creating protected areas in the sea, which involves a lot of advocacy and working with the government to get that to happen. Obviously, there's tons of work still to be done. Next slide, please. And if you've ever been to Eilat and seen the coral reefs, they're absolutely gorgeous. They apparently are among the healthiest in the world. But of course, it's going to be a real challenge to protect them, especially with oil being such a huge interest these days, as we hear about all the time. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the second aspect of what SPNI does is education. Next slide. And in the school systems. SPNI has mainstreamed environmental education over the last 2 decades, both in Jewish secular and religious schools. They work in ultra-Orthodox schools as well as Arab, Muslim, and Christian schools, Druze, Bedouin schools. They have a great curriculum throughout the educational system in Israel. It is more in the elementary and junior high schools, but they are trying to extend it to the high schools as well. Next. Okay, field schools. I really want to tell you about field schools because they're unique to Israel. They're basically like hostels that are situated out in nature, providing environmental education for school kids, nature lovers, researchers, pretty much tourists, whoever wants to come there and stay. Every Israeli kid goes on an annual school trip, and they often stay at these field schools when they go on their trips. There are around a dozen field schools located in special habitats throughout the country. And I just want to point out 3 because they become important a little later on, if I can get this to work. No, it's being temperamental. If you look just to the south of the Dead Sea, one is called Hatzera. If you go over to the left, you've got Har HaNegev. And then if you, there's a Chatzeva, I forgot to mention, so I'm having a hard time here. Chatzeva, south of the Dead Sea. I forgot to mention Ein Gedi, which is on the west side of the Dead Sea. So those 3 are important. They were the ones that were closest to the region that was impacted by the war, and I'll talk about that a little later. Next slide. I would be remiss if I don't bring this up. I just fell in love with this program. It was actually initiated by the gentleman on the right. But education also involves educating our neighbors. And SPNI has developed an array of educational programs that bring together Israelis, Palestinians, and Jordanians. This project, which is called Birds Know No Borders, was initiated by Professor Yossi Leshem. He is a professor emeritus at the School of Zoology at Tel Aviv University and the director and founder of International Center for the Study of Bird Migration. He is one of the SPNI leaders. This was a cross-border pest control project that introduced carnivorous barn owls to agricultural fields to control rodent populations as an alternative to pesticides. Helping Jordanians and Palestinians overcome their cultural fear of barn owls, who are traditionally seen as harbingers of evil spirits, they have been able to bring farmers from across the border together, and it's really been a huge success. So the use of pesticides has pretty much plummeted because these animals, I forgot to write down how many, but when they feed their chicks, it's thousands of rodents that they're giving their chicks as they're growing up. So I will say, and I was told to say, because I've gotten a little direction from Nature Israel, that the project remains intentionally under the radar now due to the current political situation. So it's not something we're, to talk about with others and share, but I did want you to know about it because they are doing some great things. Next. Okay, the third realm that SPNI works on is environmental advocacy and policy. Next. SPNI works top-down with decision makers, members of Knesset, ministers, and regulators. They also work bottom-up with the public and grassroots NGOs. They write policy papers based on scientific research, they lobby, they draft legislation. There is also a Nature Parks Authority in Israel, and they work very closely with them, and in fact, many of the members of SPNI are part of the Nature Parks Authority. Next. SPNI is currently working, to repair fragile desert ecosystems, including dune systems, and damage from fire, sewage, waste, stream beds that were damaged by heavy machinery from conflict and military use. So they are actively at work now trying to help in that direction. I'll talk more about that later. Next. This is just, they have all these apps on the phone. SPNI has 30,000 members or households that are the base of their public support, and citizens can upload these apps. And if they see something, let's say out in the water, let's say a fishing net that's there, or, or a turtle that's washed up ashore, or something like that, they can actually activate through the app, let SPNI know, and they'll come out and take care of it. Next slide. I don't know as much about this, but SPNI advocates for solar on rooftops as opposed to open spaces because they're very limited in their open spaces. I did ask them about wind turbines, and they don't really advocate for that because of the bird migration, and also there's not much wind in Israel, so it's not as useful anyway, but they are concerned for the birds. Next. And finally, the last thing that they focus on is ecotourism. Next slide. Israel has over 11,000 kilometers of hiking trails. For young Israelis, hiking the 1,100-kilometer Israel National Trail is really a rite of passage. So there's many, many trails, and SPNI has really helped build all those trails. Next. Okay, basically their theme is love Israel and protect it. So that's their promotion. Next. And we invite you, obviously, to go on their tours. They have amazing nature tours. And they also specifically choose March and November dates for their trips from the United States, which are during bird migration season. So you can go with them and see the migrations. You can see that's the Gazelle Valley at the bottom. That's the Far Rupin wetland that I talked about, and that's the Barn Owl Project. Okay, next slide. So I'm just going to go through these next slides fairly quickly. This is everything they've accomplished over the last 70 years. They've made quite a bit of impact. Next slide, please. So they've helped preserve coral reefs. These are constants. They're working on these all the time, dealing with fires, preserving Carmel Forest. Next one. This one, I just want to stop on the protected wildflower population because I was there at the end of the 60s. And the wildflower program was initiated in the 60s when flowers were being picked by Israelis right and left. Many brought them home for the Shabbat table, but they were beautiful and they were being picked. There was no understanding. And it caused near extinction of many of these flowers. SPNI started with posters proudly showing the wildflowers of Israel and a huge campaign to look but not pick. And it's really been a great success story. And my sister bought this shirt a few years later, and this is it's a copy of the poster that they had at the time. They just were, displaying all the flowers and showing how wonderful they are. Next slide. And there's always work being done on preserving water in Israel. You probably know a lot about that. There are some new projects where they're trying to bring back fresh water to the northern Galilee so that then it will supply more to the Jordan River, work its way down beyond the agricultural fields, and hopefully also the Dead Sea. These are very complicated issues, and I'm probably not the one to talk to you about them, but the webinars on Sundays often address this and what they're doing. Next. That I talked about already. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, and I told you about rewilding, and now I want to do a little continuation here of what's going on now. So 2023 ongoing, helping over 100,000 Israelis through Nature Heals ecotherapy post-October 7th. Let's go to the next slide and I'll get back to that. So the field schools, remember I mentioned the 3 that were near the sites. So you can see that, let's see, the government was, what I wanted to say was that the SPNI was the first organization to open up their field schools as temporary living quarters for the kibbutzim and towns that were impacted on October 7th, that were basically destroyed. And this was, the government was not responding right away, but SPNI was out there and had their backs. And I have heard that the people, I don't know, I think this is true, I've heard that the people that actually ended up staying in those hostel-like situations as opposed to the ones that stayed in hotels actually adjusted better than the ones that stayed in the hotels. They also did set up temporary schools for the children so they could continue with their education. Obviously not in the first day, but in the continuation. Next slide. And this is the Nature Heals program that was in that last slide of the 70 years. This program was started post-October 7th, and by hosting nature hikes and trips, SPNI has helped reduce the trauma suffered by children and families impacted during the war. Nature really does have a healing effect. Next slide. And this I just briefly touched on before, but they're helping to lead the restoration of 60,000 acres of burned and damaged landscapes post-war. The government had started to develop a 5-year program plan for the Gaza envelope to rebuild infrastructure, but in their minds, infrastructure was buildings, industry, maybe a Ferris wheel, maybe a music center. SB&I actually went out and surveyed the damaged areas and advocated for ecological restoration. This was not originally taken into account. It is now included in the plan. They didn't get quite as much money for it as they wanted to, but they got a very decent sum. And they're working with the local communities to rebuild urban nature sites and parks, and then they're going to try to connect them with what they call the living trail, so that it will also bring in more tourism to the area while maintaining those natural habitats. Next slide. And that's my final slide. And I just want to mention that you should definitely go to their website. You can write it down. I have brochures out in the front, so it's on the brochures. If you don't want to write it down, that's fine. But if you go to their website, you will find the upcoming webinars. I did want to mention the next few ones on January 11th, which is in 2 days. They have one on the marine ecosystems, much more detailed than I can give. On January 25th, they'll be talking about Tu B'Shvat, then and now. And actually, they are planning, I haven't seen it on the website yet, but they're planning on February 1st, which is actual Tu B'Shvat, to have a webinar. I don't know what the title exactly will be, but it'll be about mindful tree planting. And this is talking about planting native species when it's appropriate and where it is appropriate and needed, and not non-native species like the pine forests that were planted by JNF. So they're trying to bring back the natural habitat, which will maintain the environment. And if everyone has like 4 more minutes, there's a little video clip on Nature Israel I'd like to show you. And with that, I'll conclude.
Israel is well known as the startup nation for its high tech and research, but very few know that Israel is also one of Earth's top biodiversity hotspots. How we protect and restore nature here matters around the world. My dream is for Israel to use our innovative spirit to restore nature, bringing us and the world to a much better place than where we started. This is the vision of Startup Nature. Israel lies at the junction of one of the world's largest flyways. Twice each year, hundreds of millions of birds stop here on their migration between Europe, Asia, and Africa. And every year, 400,000 people come to witness this natural wonder. Without Israel's wetlands, these birds would not have enough food and water to survive their harsh journey of thousands of miles. But as one of the smallest yet fastest growing countries in the world, our wetlands are disappearing. Now the future of these birds and the nature of 3 continents is in our hands.
For bird migration, this is one of the most important places in the world in the junction of 3 continents. The potential to develop research, tourism, education here can make us a top leader in the Middle East and in the entire world.
Israel is taking the lead, demonstrating that rewilding these places, we can not only bring birds back, but also repair our relationship with nature.
Startup Nature seizes a unique opportunity to transform unused agricultural lands into fully functioning wetland habitats, and then build them into a network of world-class wildlife sanctuaries. We'll be preserving one of the world's most important bird migration fly routes and generating millions of dollars for the local economy now and for generations to come. The first two sites, Farupin and Magan Michael, will save millions of birds a year and attract 150,000 tourists from Israel and around the world to these regions. Each site will connect people to wildlife and help us promote a greater love and understanding of nature, of the environment, and of the shared future that we have. This, to me, is one of the most visionary projects on the planet today.
This is such an amazing opportunity to bring my kids to be part of this experience where Israel is hosting millions of birds from around the world.
Startup Nature will be a major source of revenue for my business and for the other businesses in the area.
Startup Nature represents the best of what Israel is: vision, innovation, and the Jewish values of humanity and responsibility.
SPNI for 60 years been the leading policy and planning conservation organization in Israel. I was very impressed with their vision, their commitment, their efficiency, and their success. I'm committed to this project because I know it's doable and its impact will be of global significance to the preservation of nature.
Right now, Israel has a unique opportunity to show that it is possible for a nation to grow while restoring nature. Your partnership means that Israel can establish a better, more sustainable way to live together. Your contribution to Startup Nature will secure the future of the flyway and uphold our nation's responsibility to our people, our shared nature, and all of humanity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. It puts us in a mood for Tu B'Shvat. We still have a few weeks before Shvat even begins. We're in the month of Tevet now, which is cold and rainy in Israel and, similar here, but with more white stuff. I wanted, before we conclude, to thank Arthur for the slides, David for the streaming, Joseph for the beautiful piano playing, and I thought your voice sounded great. So
thank you.
You must be on the mend.
I'm on the mend.
All right, so we'll conclude with our little interpretation here of Adon Olam, and I want to apologize. I do have to go. I need to leave very quickly, so I won't be joining you for the oneg. But I want to thank Carol too, who's already now stepping out of the room to get it. Not because it's not great. Thank you. All right, Adon Olam, everybody.
אדון עולם הושיר אדם, אוהב חיים והעולם, כולו עולה בשיר שלום, ובאדם נמצא חלום. Before our time the world began, and from that dawn our story ran, through nature's law and life's design. We seek our meaning, yours and mine. No hand unseen directs our way, yet purpose grows with each new day. Through heart and thought, through joy and pain, we shape the good that will remain. Adon Olam, that song are we, our world steered by humanity. Our love of life's dear songs of peace, within us all such dreams increase. Adon Olam ushir Adam, ohev chayim ve'ha'olam, kolo ole b'shir shalom, uba'adam nimtzah chalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody.